I just want to start off by saying this video is me trying to be sincere and constructive. This isn't me just taking a shot at the guy. So just with regards to Sargon in general, I actually don't hate him. I think I've said this numerous times in the past. If anything, I kind of like him. I think he's a fun figure to have in these circles. I think he plays an interesting role. My issue is he could be so much better than he is now. If he just got a little self-awareness, he kind of lost some of his smugness. I think one of his biggest problems is he assumes other people think like he does. And if you ever notice this when he's talking to Jim or he's debating someone, he's not always very good at explaining like his thought process. And if anything, he kind of takes shots at people who don't immediately grasp it. And I think you can really see it with the whole Gamergate thing, the UKIP thing, and the liberalist thing. He doesn't always do a good job of explaining like what his thought process is. And I think that comes in part from the arrogance. And if he, like I said, if he could get a little more self-aware, he could kind of figure out how to communicate his ideas better, he could be much better than he is now. So that being said, let's talk about what Sargon's been up to lately. And this is me being completely sincere. This isn't me doing a stream where I mock him and I satirize him and I use kind of my brand of somewhat abrasive, hyperbole, disproportionate anger, etc. This is me trying to be a sincere person. Sargon, you gotta stop, man. You gotta stop. You're not landing any punches. You're like Rocky in Rocky 4, where you're going up against Ivan Drago. Ivan Drago just keeps landing crushing blow against you, and you just keep getting up and running back in. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but you don't have to die on this hill. And it's just, things are not going good for you. There's nothing wrong with, as I've said in the last video, and I said this to you when you posted under one of my videos, you got to just take a break. You're just kind of all over the place. You're shooting from the hip. You're not really thinking things through, and it's just getting worse and worse. You make lots of money, film a couple extra videos, queue them up to go, and like I said, you make tons of cash. Go on a trip. Go to Italy. Go to Greece. Go to Russia. Go somewhere and just immerse yourself in the history, or just go to the Caribbean and lie on a beach for a couple weeks. You need to unwind, you need to unplug, you need to figure out what your next moves are. Because, like I said, you're not landing any blows. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. So why do I say that? Let's try to be constructive with where we're going. I think the biggest issue Sargon has at the moment is the rate at which he's launching these new projects. Because in the last year, he's launched the Liberalists, he's joined UKIP, and now he's going with Gamergate 2.0. And this was the comment he put under my video, actually, is he said, I never said I was leaving the Liberalists, I'm just joining UKIP. Now, this is true, but it's confusing to people. And this is where I get back to having trouble explaining your ideas. You go, I'm going to start my own, and I just want to reiterate, none of these ideas are bad in and of themselves. Trying to just not be skeptical and not just be against things, but to form a positive ideology that posits a complex and complete worldview isn't a bad idea. The Liberalist project is not necessarily a terrible idea. It's an attempt to try to, I guess, move the skeptic community beyond just skepticism or whatever their basis was, beyond just Gamergate. The issue was it was poorly done. It was just kind of rolled off without much planning. The platform was, if I recall when I made a video about it, the platform was changed pretty much overnight, several times. No one was really sure who was on board with it, etc. And it just was kind of dead on arrival. So then what happened was like I think it's 6 months later, whatever, you're like, okay, I'm going to join UKIP now. Once again, this isn't necessarily a bad idea. Joining like an actual political party, saying, look, I'm going to try and move past some of my LARPing. I'm going to try and get some discipline and try to make a real world difference. I think UKIP is a natural ideological choice for Sargon. I think given the diversity of opinions, I don't think he's particularly out of place within it. The issue, though, is, once again, this comes on the heels of the liberalist thing. So it's confusing to people, like, are we still having the liberalists? Are we having UKIP now? Are we trying to make UKIP a liberalist party? What's going on? And the liberalist thing seems to have kind of, like, died out. It doesn't really have any momentum to it anymore. So we're going to, like, a second huge project in less than a year, and it's confusing to people, and people don't know what the hell's going on. So that happened, and that was done in, like, the worst way possible, because rather than really focusing on what you were hoping to accomplish, why you decided to join UKIP, etc., you started this war with the gym, like Suitgate. Like, what was that? It's I don't think people had an issue necessarily with you joining UKIP. People had an issue because you made it about you, because you made it about your suit, and you made it about your vanity that I'm a big boy, I'm better than Jim, I'm better than all these other people because I'm a member of a political party. If you had have just said, look, I feel I should get involved in the actual political process and try to change the world, I have a big platform, I'm going to use it for something practical. I don't think anybody would have, I mean, sure, some people would have made fun of him, but I don't think he would have gotten nearly the backlash. So that happened, and now that he's gotten attacked over it, it seems like he's kind of pulling back from that. So it's like, okay, so he did the liberalist project and that didn't go anywhere, so we're going to abandon that. Whether or not he actually abandoned it is irrelevant. That's the impression, and impressions are often everything. So he gives the impression, okay, the liberalist project went nowhere, I'm going to abandon that. The UKIP project went nowhere, so I'm going to abandon that. Now what we're going to do is Gamergate 2.0. We're going to do Gamergate 2.0, and it's going to be great. And when I heard this, I was like, what? Is Gamergate even a thing? I haven't heard about Gamergate, like, seriously for years. And what happened to the liberalists? What happened to UKIP? We're going to, like, so now we're introducing this, like, third huge project, like, a month after the UKIP thing. Like, is the UKIP thing still happening? Is that off? Are the liberalists still happening? Is that gone? Like, you're dividing your attention between too many projects. And once again, with regards to the Gamergate thing, is it necessarily a bad idea? Well, the Gamergate part of it is, but the idea that your kind of community, the skeptic community, I don't know what you want to call yourselves, the idea that your community's completely lost steam and you need a new project to bring some dynamism back, to get people excited and involved again, is not a bad idea. It's an issue the dissident right had, where we put all our energy into electing Trump, and once Trump got elected, it was kind of mission accomplished, and a lot of people lost interest and completely lost momentum and dynamism. And once kind of Gamergate died down, his kind of section of the political spectrum also kind of lost a lot of power and momentum. So bringing in a new project, trying to start a new kind of offensive, if you will, I think is a logical thing. The issue is he's just trying to rehash something previously. Like, could we do maybe Moviegate? Like, talk about how Hollywood movies suck. Or just people, or historical revisionism. You could, like, make a movement attacking, just inserting random minorities into stuff. Like, we want ethics in period representation, or something like that. That would make more sense, instead of going back to something from, like, 10 years ago that no one really cares about anymore. I mean, there's new stuff within maybe it's time to just take it into a broader sphere, to go beyond just video game journalism and talk about the wider context. Like I said, historical revisionism, inserting random diversity, that kind of thing. And I say this as someone who's pretty far to the right of Sargon and obviously has a completely different set of priorities, but I'm just trying to come up with something logical that might be palatable to him and his audience. But to go with Gamergate is just it doesn't make any sense. It's a bad idea. And once again, it divides attention. It feels like you're grasping at straws. that you're like, okay, the liberalist thing failed, UKIP failed, I'm going to go back to my roots. We're going to do Gamergate now. And I don't know what he's like to his frequent... Oh, there's also the thing, right, where he said, I'm going to kind of leave, I'm going to go low-key for a while. And now he's back with this huge project. So, like, we have these 4 massive heel turns in less than a year, like in 6 months. And it's very confusing. And it's, I just think, very bad for morale. And it feels like even if this isn't his intent, even if he fully intends to carry all of these out at the same time, it feels like he's just grasping at straws. He's just shooting, hoping one of his bullets hit. He's punching in the dark, hoping he hits something. And then there's the whole feud with Jim. Sargon seems convinced that he can get Jim to become a legitimate political figure, that he can get him to stop being a troll, that he can, for lack of a better term, get a suit and kind of become respectable. Jim is a professional troll. That's what he does. Does he have some right-wing views? Yes. But ultimately, he's a bit like the Joker. He's interested in seeing the world burn. He's not the kind of person you should rely on. He's not the kind of person you want leading your political movement. And Sargon can't handle this. I don't know if he's a tsundere towards Jim. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. He's kind of tsundere towards Jim. And he needs Jim to be on his side. But, like, he shouldn't care about what Jim's doing. He should get people who realistically will actually help him and will actually be an asset to whatever his movement is, rather than focus on someone who's made very clear they want nothing to do with their political movement. And he keeps going on the kill stream. He keeps going on, like, these shows that are very obviously against him and are very obviously going to take whatever he says and portray it in the worst possible light. And he just won't stop. And it's sad, because I don't want to see Sargon, like, crash and burn. I mean, it was funny, like, the first couple of times, but there's much, much worse people in this world than Sargon. There's people who are way worse than him. And it's a shame. It's a shame to see someone who I think in a lot of ways has legitimate talent, who has an audience, who could be using it for good, just randomly shooting in the dark. So this is not me as, like, I don't know, a troll or whatever. This is me, Arjun, as a person saying, Sargon, stop. Just stop. You need to unplug. Go use some of your money. Go on a vacation, either by yourself or with your family. Go lie on the beach for a couple weeks. Refresh your brain and come back strong. Because you're not achieving anything here. You're just making yourself look bad. You're confusing your viewer base. And the more you flail around trying to have a success, the better the odds you're going to go too far on something. And it's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be the end of your YouTube career. So, God bless. Try to get some self-awareness. Try to improve. I know you're probably going to watch this video because you watch everything critical of you. And by posting a comment previously, I know you'll follow my channel. But this is me trying to be sincere. This is not me trying to mock you. This is not me trying to concern troll you. This is me, Argent, talking to Sargon, telling him to just stop. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you later.